I think this really is one of the most extraordinary tompions ever made, with its full Grande Sonnerie, with 6 bells every time it strikes. And it's one of the very, very few beautiful tompions with such a complicated mechanism which isn't hidden away in a museum so nobody can see it. This important clock is the last of Tompion's 3 extant numbered full Grande Sonnerie longcase clocks, the first being number 131, the Royal Exchange Tompion, with a peal of 3 quarter bells. The second, number 275, is in the Royal Connection, but now sadly missing its quarter train, so it's only an hour striking clock. The third is this present clock, which is full Grande Sonnerie longcase, number 387, with a peal of 6 quarter bells, also operated on demand by the pull cord repeat here. So here we go. 1 quarter, 2 quarters, 3 quarters, 3 quarters past 1. The dating is circa 1703, which might suggest a royal commission from Prince George of Denmark to mark accession of his wife as Queen Anne of England. The original signature appears to be the one on the bottom, on the base of the dial plate. Thomas Tompion, London, fake it. And the final letter of the T is just slightly covered, obscured by the bottom right-hand Indian mask and scroll spandrel here. If this had also been added later, the engraver would actually have seen the space available and would have altered the engraving to fit. Similarly, the engraving has been cut through for the N1S6 plaque for the strike selection lever on the frieze side, and on the winding shutter lever on this side, it's cut right through the engraving. These 3 items indicate that all parts of the original dial were engraved before the clock was originally created. About 1701 or 1702, Edward Banger was taken into partnership, so Thomas Tompion and Edward Banger was engraved on reserve just above the going train shuttered winding hole here. No record of why Tompion and Banger fell out in about 1707 or 1708, and nothing has come down to us. But the break certainly was personal and deep. Any Tompion and Banger return for service had a later applied silvered plaque saying Thomas Tompion, London, covering over the Thomas Tompion and Edward Banger signature underneath. The case is punch numbered both 3, 8, 7 and 25. From the early 1690s, a small number of Tompion cases, that's 18 long cases and 3 spring clocks, have a secondary number which bears no relation to Tompion's serial number. It's extremely difficult to ascertain any pattern within these numbers, but they will certainly have related to a second ledger. Whether kept by Tompion or a casemaker cannot currently be determined, but possibly denoting subsequent alterations by Tompion as occurred in this clock. It's coming up towards 2 o'clock now, and at 2 o'clock it will strike 4 quarters followed by 2. So you know exactly the time to the nearest quarter every quarter of an hour. But because it will also, on the first quarter here, also do the peal of 6 bells and then strike the 2 again. It's the same on the half. It will do 2 peals of bells and 2. On the third quarter, it'll do 3 peals of bells and 3, and on the fourth quarter again, it'll do 4 peals of bells and 4. So it's a wonderful mechanism to have all that striking going on. And if you don't like it, you can switch it off at night with the this lever here. You can, in the up position, it just gives 1/4 bell, and then when it's on N, that's no strike, and it's absolutely quiet all the time. But even when it's switched off and quiet, you can still pull the repeat chord, and it will then give you the nearest quarter. So here we go again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fourth quarter, just after 2 o'clock. This magnificent burr-walnut case here was looking very sad when I purchased the clock. And the top caddy was virtually destroyed, so we've had to rebuild it and bring it back to its former glory. And I think the result speaks for itself. The case was slightly twisted, and so we had to unglue it and straighten it all, but retaining all the features, all the wood of the original case. And does it look magnificent? Makes me feel quite small, but it's a beautiful case, isn't it? And the concave mouldings here, the emphasis on the pillars, the Doric capitals and bases, the quarter column at the back here, that they're all blend into a coherent whole to look absolutely beautiful. So the door here, the burr walnut, is reflected, and so that they were sawn veneers in those days, so this piece matched that piece, and it's a half picture of each other there. And then the beautiful veneer all the way around, and the crossed grain walnut of the beading here. The hinges with little gilt tops onto the pins. Everything is done with quality and care. And the result is worthy of a clock with royal provenance. So I've opened the front door of the case so you can see the full detail of the dial here. These lovely 4 Indian headed spandrels in each of the corners, the detail on the hour hand and the lovely detail on the minute hand, and there's the very small plain second hand with the quarter-hour divisions, the half-hour markers, and the minutes every 5 marked, and you've got half quarter hours marked on the 4 places here. It's a lovely dial. The matting is fine, and then you've got the shuttering winding holes from this lever here, so when I cock it, then we can wind the clock without it stopping, and so that will slowly come back. And then you've got a choice of no strike up here, of 1/4 bell, or the full 6 quarter bells. And I can show you the pull repeat. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 quarters after 2. So it's showing the time to the nearest quarter of an hour. Day or night, if you had this in your bedroom, you could reach out and pull the repeat lever. Only a king or a queen would have such a thing in their bedroom. But there we go. Wonderful clock.